In this video, we are going to learn a lot about drawing angles, but more particularly, we're going to talk about coterminal angles and reference angles. But before we even get to that, let's just talk about how to draw angles. So when we're drawing angles, what we do is we've got our coordinate grid. Yes, back to coordinate grids, surprising. But you always start, or the initial side is always going to start over here on the positive x-axis. Okay, so let's color code this. Initial side, it's always going to start over here. Then, whatever angle you're given, it rotates in the counterclockwise direction. It's going to rotate until whatever the angle is, it will stop. Then, you're going to draw also another line segment, which is called the terminal side, okay, or the ending side, right? Terminal end. Right there. Okay, so that's basically what an angle will look like. In this video, we are going to focus only on degrees, but we will learn about radians soon. So, if we're going in the counterclockwise direction, this is actually considered a positive angle. If you rotate in the opposite direction, in the clockwise direction, that's considered a negative angle. So let's take a look at some different angles of rotation. So, remember that if you do a 360, that means you started in the same place that you ended in. Sorry, this doesn't say 360. We're just reminding ourselves real quick. 360 is a full circle. So that means right here is either 0 or 360, or it could be 720, right? You can do more full rotations. Right here is a 90-degree angle, right? This would be 90 degrees. Over here would be a 180 degrees, and then down here is 270 degrees. So really what we're just practicing is, where does 135 end up approximately? The most important part is that you have it in the correct quadrant. So we start on the x-axis, the positive x-axis, and we just rotate. I have 135, so it's got to be somewhere in the second quadrant. All right, that's it. That's how you do it. 420, it's positive, so it starts here. I know that 420 is more than 360, so I'm actually going to subtract 360 from it, and I'm left with 60 degrees. So that means I could rotate 360 and then go 60 degrees past it, which is not more than 90, so it should be in quadrant 1. So if I were to draw that, start at the positive x-axis and rotate until about there. Once again, as long as it's in quadrant 1, you're good. Negative 120 means I'm going to rotate in the opposite direction. Now that's more than 90, but less than 180, so it should put me somewhere over here, right? If this was negative 90 and negative 180. More than 90, less than 180. I don't know, somewhere in there. All right, you can do that last one. Let's talk about coterminal. Well, we've actually kind of already talked about this. And let's actually start with number 2, because coterminal angles share the same initial and terminal side, but have more or less rotation. Basically, in this one, we said, oh, well, we could do a full 360 past it, but 60 degrees actually starts and ends in the same place as well. So 60 degrees is coterminal with 420. And the way that we found that was we just subtracted one full rotation away. So we just subtracted 360 from it. I just did 420 minus 360, and that got me 60 degrees. If I want a negative coterminal angle, so let's do the negative down here, I would need to subtract 360 again. So I'd have to do 420 minus 360. That would give me to 60, but that's positive. So I'm going to subtract another rotation, and I'm left with negative 300 degrees. Okay, so if I drew that angle, it would start at the same place, and it would end at the same place, same terminal side. So the trick is You either add 360 or subtract 360. So for 135, I could do 360 plus 135, giving me 495 would be coterminal. Or I could subtract 360 from 135, which would give me negative 225 degrees. All right, so you can practice with those. You can practice with this one as well. And this one, let's talk about reference angles. Okay, so a reference angle, let's actually just talk about, what do I want to do? 150 degrees. 150 degrees is going to be in the second quadrant, right? It's not as far as 180, and it's further than 90. So the angle of rotation that we had was this one over here, but the reference angle is the angle in between the x-axis and the terminal side. It's like if you completed the rotation to get all the way to 180. What is this angle? Well, we know that the first angle is 150, and to get to 180, we would just have to add 30. So 30 degrees would be the reference angle. So that's the symbol for reference angle. Reference angle would be 30 degrees. So you're going to have to draw the angle first, and then you can find the reference angle. So if I did 240, I know that's going to be past 180, but not quite to 270. So I have 240. Now, remember, it is the angle between the x-axis and the terminal side. The x-axis, right, to get from here to here would be 180. So the question is, how much further do we need to go to get to 240? Well, I know that I just need to subtract 180 from 240 or add 60 to get to 240. So the reference angle here is 60 degrees. Thank you for watching.